Hi everyone, welcome. FPLMattDay here, live deadline Game Week 9 stream. Not long until the Game Week 9 deadline. We obviously had a couple of weeks off now with the international break, so buzzing to be back with some FPL. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. Get your comments in already for tonight's deadline. Any transfer questions or team selection headaches, let me know in the comments. And be sure to give the video a like as well. We'll do the usual. We'll go through all the questions that come through during the stream. We'll go through each game, pick the best player from each match along with a score prediction, and try and update as much team news as possible during the next 40 minutes before deadline. Q is also coming on the stream tonight from FPL Amateurs of Oz. We're just waiting for him to join. He's only just got the link from me, so he's about to jump on. So he'll come on in a second. So in the meantime, before I share the screen, we'll bring up some of the comments. Christian, welcome to the stream, mate. Hope you are well. Zero Zatsa, any news about transfer? Well, for my team, mate, I've rolled over my transfer this week. So no transfers for my team. I wildcarded in Game Week 8. So yeah, just a rollover for me. But if you've got any questions, let me know. Let me know in the comments. FPL Roo, welcome to the stream, mate. I jumped on a good video with FPL Roo the other night on his channel, so go and check that out. You can subscribe to him on FPL Roo, so go and check him out. Welcome to the stream, Zada. Hope you're well, mate. I'm good. I'm looking forward to having some FPL back, and obviously deadline is soon. And I'm really looking forward to this Merseyside derby between Liverpool and Everton. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Klopp does with Tsimikas, if he starts him for this one, or if Gomez does end up on the left side. So that'll be really interesting. So stay tuned on this channel for some early team news. What I'll do is I'll start off and share the screen now. And then Q should be joining us any minute now. So bring up the fixtures in a second. Q's actually here now, so what I'll do is I'll share the screen and then we'll bring him in. Here he is, and again he's wearing his United shirt, which we did say was banned from the stream, but he's still continuing to wear it. But Q, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, pretty good, mate. Have to wear the United shirt, mate. Haaland from Wishes performing in the morning. It's going to score a hat-trick, so got to wear the shirt.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I do hope the Haaland from Wish does do well for Man United because, yeah, he's in my team. I know he's in yours as well, Q. So, yeah, buzzing about him. We'll bring up some of the comments in a second. We'll start off with this early game between Liverpool and Everton, Merseyside derby. Yeah, this is going to be a really interesting game because I feel like Everton have been pretty poor this season, but Deitch has found a couple of results lately. And, yeah, I think it's going to be quite a tricky tie. I can still see Liverpool winning it, but I think they'll edge it 2-0. Like in the Salah pick, like in the Darwin pick for this game, maybe even Jota and Trent as well. So they're sort of the players I'd probably be keeping an eye out on this one. And also, if Tsimikas does start, then there's a lot of potential in there. But yeah, what are you thinking on this one, Q? Like, is there anyone from Everton that you'd even look at for this fixture?
I don't like the mind of Jack Harrison, but he's not really someone I'm going to be targeting. But if you were wanting to say like a 1 week punt, like we mentioned on our pod, if you're going to wildcard next week, this could be a fixture you might want to throw just a person in your team. But yeah, probably not entertaining any of the assets. And yeah, like you, Salah, I think could go really good this game. I like Diaz actually. A lot of people are sort of hesitant because he did play the friendly, but I'm not sure whether Gakpo is fully fit yet. So
no, not yet.
Yeah,
I like the Diaz shout, actually. I forgot about Diaz because he obviously had the international games, but it looks like he's training anyway, and he always looks threatening when he plays.
Yeah, so I think like it's going to come down to Diaz or Nunez, and we saw that Nunez was going off with cramp in the friendly game. So Diaz, he missed a penalty as well, so he's probably going to want to make a difference this week. Hopefully, I'm tossing up between Bowen or Diaz to start in my side, so hopefully might get some leaks before deadline. Yeah, it's a tough decision. Yeah. So
let us know in the comments what you'd do, whether you'd start Diaz this week or if you'd start Bowen and why. I'd probably lean more towards Diaz if we get that early team news in the next 35 minutes, which I think we'll get. We'll keep Twitter up in the background. Q, you can we'll have a look through Twitter and see if there's any news that comes up in the next half hour as well, in case we miss anything on the stream. So,
and I might just point out to my PTSD from this exact same fixture. We did a live watch along last season. Do you remember that?
When, we did.
T-Rex made 9 saves and Salah was on the end of about 5 of those chances. So, yeah.
I remember that one. And look, Salah's obviously a great pick for this game, but personally, I'm not captaining him. I do think he'll score. But yeah, I think I'm just avoiding these early games after international breaks for now. But let's get a quick score prediction, Q.
I'm gonna say 2-0, but I think it's gonna be a tight game because Everton have actually looked a lot better the last few weeks. So it's just gonna come down to whether T-Rex shows up with his ultimate goalkeeping skills or whether it's gonna be the Pickford from the first few rounds where he's just letting everything in. So
yes, I think 2-0 Liverpool as well. So big game there. I'm really he's not in my team, but I think Darwin Núñez owners, if he gets a start, which I think he should be pretty excited for him ahead of this game. Let's bring up some comments. FPL Rue's asking, do we think Saka will start this week? Surely he's had enough time to rest.
Yeah, I think he will. He's one of those players, I think, that if he's 80% fit, he'll start. I don't think he has to be 100% fit.
Yeah, I think as long as he's been pictured in training, then I think he starts a game. Chelsea away, still a London derby, still a tough fixture. So, I think he starts. Let's bring up Christian's comment, and then we'll go on to Bournemouth versus Wolves. Christian's hanging in there. He's doing 1 free transfer thanks to a bit of help from FPL Rue. So just need to get rid of SG Plan. Otherwise, I've got 4 starting in the Spurs versus Fulham fixture, and FPL Rue just with a laughing face there.
There's nothing wrong with that, mate. I'm on the Spurs train, mate. So get on.
Yeah, Q's basically Big Angie's son at the moment. The way he raves about.
I'm loving Big Angie instead, mate. I'm loving Big Angie instead.
It's good. We love to see it. But keep getting your questions in. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Like the video. Check out Q as well. I'll just pull this comment off so you can see Q's tag at FPL Amateurs of Oz. He's on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram as well. So go and check his page out on Twitter. Let's do Bournemouth Wolves. I'm actually excited about this game, and it's because I've got Neto in my team, and he looks so good in game week 8. He's looked good in most game weeks. So I'm actually really excited about having Neto in this game. I'm also really excited about Hee-Chan. He's scored 5 goals this season for Wolves. I also saw a few people talking online about Matt Doherty potentially playing in this game. He's really cheap as well. So yeah, it's quite interesting. Look, Solanke as well. There's a lot of people talking about him from Bournemouth as well. So I think there's a lot of potential from an FPL point of view in this game, and I can see there being goals. I think Wolves are going to score. They've only failed to score in 1 league game this season. It's not like last year where they barely score a goal. So I'm going to go with 2-1 Wolves, and I think Neto's going to grab a goal in this one, and so is Hee-Chan, and I think Solanke maybe for Bournemouth. I think it's going to be really good for FPL. Maybe I'm being a bit optimistic, but Q, what are you thinking on this one?
I think this is going to be a 1-1 draw. I think in the past, this fixture's been quite tight. So the last few fixtures, a 1-0 win to Bournemouth, 0-0 draw, 1-0 to Wolves, 2-1 to Wolves. So I think it's going to be quite of a chess match, I guess. Not an interesting chess match, but a chess match. But yeah, I think Wolves definitely could win this fixture 2-1. I think there's going to be a goal from either side on this, so I think clean sheet's going to be out the window. But yeah, I think it could be quite tight early on. So it just depends on who capitalizes on the chances, and I hope for your sake it's a Neto.
Oh, cheers, mate. Hopefully he does, and he's looking brilliant so far this season. The one thing I have about Neto that does worry me is he can pick up injuries, quite often. So it does scare me a bit. But that's Bournemouth Wolves. We'll quickly cover off Brentford Burnley. I don't think we've got huge amounts to say about this one, so we'll cover it off, and then we'll start bringing up a lot of the comments because we're half an hour away from deadline. So I don't want to miss anyone's questions. Look, there's no one I'm targeting in this game from Brentford right now. Mbeumo has left my team. Thought he was a big pick. He got me a couple of returns, but he's now gone. From Burnley, I've got Charlie Taylor on my bench as a sort of a backup player, which is always handy to have. But outside of that, this fixture isn't really doing it for me in FPL this week. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I think Company will get a point in this one, and nothing big to shout about from an FPL point of view. And saying that, probably be the week that Mbeumo and Wissa do return, considering I sold them 2 weeks ago. So we'll see what happens there. But Q, your thoughts on this one?
I think there's going to be an upset in this game. I'm going 2-1 to Burnley. I think I don't think Brentford have been great defensively, is what the numbers are saying. I think there's probably been about 3 games where they've conceded a lot of chances, and Burnley are going to go play football. They're not the old Burnley that are going to shut up shop and scrape out a result, which that's why I think there's going to be goals. I think they're going to concede because they are going to open themselves up trying to sort of attack. But yeah, I think this could be a fixture, like a weird result. Every week there's usually one weird result that gets thrown up, and I think Burnley, they need to start getting wins because before they know it, it's going to be after Christmas and they're going to be at the bottom of the table. So I think this is definitely a game that they can get something out of. So I'm going to say an upset 2-1 win, and I think Foster is going to be the person sort of on the end of one of those. And that Dooney, I think it is, he was rested last week for
he looks good.
The 18-year-old, but I think he'll start. And I think it could be those two sort of getting on the score sheet. And I think Mbeumo is definitely, this is a fixture. If you do have him in your wildcarding next week, you're probably going to keep him for this fixture. But yeah, I'm not big on Brentford at the moment.
I've lost a lot of hope in him.
Yeah, I just think the start of the season, there was a lot of goals that they were scoring. They were aided by bad defensive errors and bad sort of communication in teams in the defense where they were lucky enough to be at the right place at the right time scoring, and sort of everyone sort of thought, well, this is what it's going to be like. But the last 4 weeks, we've seen Brentford are still getting some chances, but not the amount they got in the first few weeks.
No, completely right. And I have to say, Q, I have to hold my hands up, was correct about Brentford and Mbeumo and Wissa. I ended up having Mbeumo and Wissa on my team for quite a while, and they only got maybe 1 return out of Mbeumo. So yeah, wasn't great. Before we do Man City versus Brighton, let's bring up some of the comments. Zero Zaza. I have a dilemma right now. Should I play Matoma or Nottingham Forest defence Murillo? Because Luton against Luton, I expect a clean sheet. Oh, I know there's talk about that game maybe being called off because of the weather, but you've got to assume that it's going to go ahead. And then you've got Matoma. Matoma can score in any fixture. Tough. It's tough. I'd still say back Matoma. I'm backing the attacker. Matoma. Man City aren't keeping clean sheets. Matoma's a tricky player. And you'd probably do it with the hope that maybe Luton can score, because Luton have been creating chances. They've found ways to score. So I'd still back Matoma. I think if it was my team, I'd be playing Matoma.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think obviously City are going to be a lot better with Rodri back this week, but I think Brighton, they tend to show up in the harder fixtures we've seen in the past. So I'd probably back the attacking player or the defensive player because, this Brighton Man City game could be anything. Could be a high scoring game. So
exactly. Now that's what I'm thinking. Go Matoma, in my opinion, and Q's opinion as well. FPL Roo, am I starting at Onana, Q? Well, look, Q's got the United shirt on, so that's telling you, is he backing his boy Onana? He's got Turner as his other keeper, by the way.
Yeah, no, I would be backing Onana this week. I think we still don't look great defensively, which is good in a team against Sheffield, because I feel like they'll get shots, but they're not going to be high quality chances like other sides. So I think there's opportunity to get some save points, maybe bonus if we keep a clean sheet. But yeah, I think there's a little bit of upside there for this week.
Yeah, see, I look at it now and I think you'd back the fixture for Turner against Luton, but it's still Nottingham Forest, who have had some good results this season, but yeah,
Luton didn't look too bad against Spurs, even with 10 players.
They were good, and they did score against Everton the week before. 2 goals against Everton. They've scored against Burnley. So the fact, like Morris looks like a handy striker. I think with United, like, your defense isn't great this season. Not many teams have got good defenses this season, really. But I'd still look at Onana and think you've paid whatever it was at the start, 5 million for him. If United keep a clean sheet, there's probably a good opportunity for him to get save points and bonus. I think if I had those two keepers, I'd pick Onana, but I've got Turner and Areola, so I'm picking Turner over Areola. But I think if I still had Onana, probably would edge it for me. But yeah, good luck in your pick, Rue. I'm good, Jared. I hope you're well as well, mate. If you've got any questions for me or Q, just get them in the comments. Two Blues Podcast, welcome to the stream, mate. Hope you are good. And yeah, like you said, 7 watching, only 4 likes. So get the likes up, subscribe if you're new. Go check out Q as well at FPLMattDay. And get your questions in because we're 24 minutes till deadline. And there's actually some team news which I can reveal now, which I've just seen online. So if you're watching in the stream and you're waiting on some Liverpool team news, there is someone here saying, it's leaked lineups, who's very, very reliable, has said that Darwin Núñez starts. But then there's a lot of people relying saying, no, he doesn't. Interesting.
That would probably mean Diaz would be rested then on the bench, unless because Jota plays, I'm pretty sure. Let's share it. Let's share this tweet. We'll share this tweet. Because I thought Jota would start up top with Salah. Then again, I guess Jota would have to start out wide, actually. Sorry, Jota out wide. Diaz out wide. We'll stop that share, and then we'll share this. So leaked lineups is normally pretty reliable. He's got a lot of his reputation on the line if he's got this one wrong for Darwin Núñez owners. I think what we might do is we'll try and see if we can get team news in the next sort of couple of minutes. Then we'll go back into sharing the screen and some results and some player picks. But we'll answer the questions that have come up because we're 22 minutes to deadline. We want to make sure we get everyone's questions sorted. So WB has asked, hey guys, a bit of help required. I've got 0.6 in the bank and will be taking a hit to remove Sterling or Morris. Both your suggestions for replacements. If I'm removing Sterling and you haven't got James Maddison, then you're putting James Maddison in my opinion. Otherwise, I'd probably still give Sterling this Arsenal game. Coming off that form, save one of the transfers, maybe roll a transfer. I just think with Morris, you play him in that Forest fixture. He's looked good. He's returned in nearly half of his games. So I actually probably wouldn't do that. Here we go. Next one he said, is it even worth the hit to remove Morris? Sterling definitely sell. So if you're looking at selling Sterling, you don't want to keep Sterling, which I think is fine. And you've got the money. You don't have Maddison. Then I really like James Maddison. Diaby from Aston Villa, I think, is a really good pick right now, especially with the Luton game next week. Jared Bowen, Villa away this week's tough, but then he's got Everton home next week. They're probably kind of my sort of favourites. That's probably where I sit at the moment. What do you think, Q? If you're going to sell Sterling, and assume he has Maddison, then who would you be looking at? Yeah, I think if you have Maddison, probably Bowen. But then again, I also like a bit of differential punt on McGinn. I really like McGinn this week. John McGinn. But I think Bowen. If you can get to Bowen, definitely, I think he's a bit of a long-term pick. You can keep him to nearly 16. I think they have a pretty decent fixture on. Yeah, no, I like that shout. There you go. There's a couple of options for you, WB. Before we go through the other questions, and be sure to get your questions in 20 minutes till deadline. I think what me and Q will prioritize now is just going through these questions and looking at team news and talking about some of our favorite picks as well. Trent Alexander-Arnold starts. I don't think that's too much of a surprise. I know he's had injury problems. And we've still got this Darwin Núñez starts in there. So big old John McGinn. John McGinn. Yeah, mate. I spoke about it on our podcast. He just rocks up like you're watching the game and you're hoping for a Diaby or a Watkins goal, and then you see McGinn just pop up on the edge of the box and slot a goal. And he's on set pieces as well. And I think last week he had 5 chances created, so he's actually on the ball creating. And if you're tossing it between him and a Douglas Luiz and Diaby, I actually like him a bit more, but it is a bit of an out there pick, so it's not for everyone.
No, I agree. So I'm just in this chat here, and this is where I had the Darwin Núñez starts, and that's all we've got so far. I'm really, really interested to see if we can get some Samikas or Joe Gomez news and an early Liverpool lineup. So yeah, keep us informed in the comments if anything else comes up. Let's go back to sharing the rest of the fixtures, and we'll go through those, and we'll answer these questions for you. We're up to Man City and Brighton, but let's quickly answer this question. Areola, Turner, Taylor, Cashburn, Udogie, Gahey, Salah, Madison, Ward-Prowse, Son. Should I do a transfer? I only have one. To be honest, if I had this team, I'll play Turner, Cash, Burn, Udogie, Salah, Madison, Neto, Son. Is Ward-Prowse fit and okay to play this weekend, Q?
Who, Ward-Prowse?
Yeah, he's good to go.
Yeah, he should
good.
be, yeah.
Watkins, Haaland. I'd play 11, mate. I would roll. I'd roll. I wouldn't even transfer that team.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to have an advantage if they got the 2 transfers next week because, like myself, I got out Saka, so I'll be moving towards Saka depending on, obviously, how he looks this week. But, yeah, I think that you're in a good position if you've got 2 transfers next week.
No, I agree. Madison, Saka, Madison for me.
Yeah, Madison, landslide.
Yeah, especially this week. I think even next week. I think once you get Madison, you keep him, and then once you get Saka back, you keep him, but you don't sacrifice Madison.
There's one question I want to ask you, Matt, being a Spurs fan. Do you think that Madison's going to be dropping a little bit deeper at times to make up for Højbjerg's shortcomings? Like sort of Basuma seems to be able to push the ball with pace and get into the areas that Madison is.
Basuma's suspended.
Yeah.
Look, it's interesting. It's an interesting one. Maybe, but I don't think that's going to make a huge difference to Madison's returns because he's just so good. And the thing about Madison is he's on all like corners, set pieces. He's yet to score a free kick, and we know he's going to score a couple of free kicks this season. So like, yeah, he'll.
Or maybe even it benefits Madison with Basuma out because a lot of the ball play is going to have to fall on Madison a lot more than Basuma getting into those areas and playing those long through balls through.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. And the thing about Højbjerg, he's quite defensive anyway, so he can sit back and he can play that role. So I think it'll be fine. We'll go into Jared's comment. Anyone brave enough to go against Haaland? I have Salah, but I don't think I'm brave enough being stung by Son. And then he says high Q as well. Just nice. Look, to be honest, if I didn't have Haaland in my squad, well, obviously I'd be going against him anyway, but he's in my squad, so I'm just going to have him captain him like normal. But I think there's a lot of people that are brave enough to do it now because they've seen that it's look, Haaland is Haaland. I said this on FPL Rue's stream the other night. Go against him at your own will. But if there's going to be a time to go against Haaland, it's this last few weeks and at this point in time. Whether or not you get away with it, it's hard to say. But yeah, what do you think on that one, Q?
Well, I'm firmly against Haaland. I got him out of my side on my wild card last week, but I still like Son. A lot of people are worried about obviously carrying an injury, but I think he's going to be perfectly fine. And just weighing up the fixtures, like this Brighton fixture could, I definitely think that Haaland will score this week, but I don't know whether it's going to be a haul. I could see it just being a 1 goal or maybe 1 bonus or something, whereas I could see Son getting a double, getting 3 bonus. And
no, that's a fair call. I think, look, Son's fit to play. He's going to start. Andrew's already said. And look, if I didn't have Haaland, I'd probably be looking at captaining Son, Salah, James Madison.
I'll even throw in Bruno Fernandes or Rashford.
Yeah, Fernandes is a good captain pick this week. These are the sorts of fixtures he will just turn up when no one, owns him anymore. I also like Trippier as a captain this week against Palace as well.
Trippier is a great captaincy option because Palace have no players left. I don't know who's going to be scoring the goals. Maybe Mateta. I'm not sure he's passing in the. Yeah. Well, I don't know who's even going to be passing the ball to Mateta. So unless he turns into peak Mbappe, I think that's a great fixture for Trippier.
Now, let's start to bring up the comments. I have to get us through some of them quickly because we're 14 minutes from deadline and quite a few people are coming in. I've seen a comment that's just come up. I know who that channel is, and it's very, very good. What he's asked. Zaza asked which one to start out of Saka or Maddison. This week, Maddison, 100%. What do you reckon, Q?
Got
to start Maddison this week.
Yeah, no, 100% Maddison.
Big old drum again, why not? Yeah. Christian, would you go back through Vidogi, Trips and Ream, Kabore, SG on the bench, or bring in Kufal, Aguerd, some other defender I haven't thought of? I'd probably try your luck and hope Kabore plays for Luton, maybe play him. And then otherwise, if you're going to bring in a defender right now, I'd try and bring in Matt Cash for Ream if you can.
Yeah, Matt Cash or Sufau. Matt Cash or Sufau, I think. If
Sufau's got good fixtures.
And I think, what is it, 3 straight assists, 3 games in a row now?
Yeah, that's true. This is a tough call because City aren't keeping clean sheets and Brighton's not an easy game. Whereas Chelsea have actually kept quite a lot of clean sheets this season and Cole's been getting bonus points. And Arsenal's not an easy game, but these sorts of games can be tight, Chelsea-Arsenal games. I think both will concede. But I'll say Cole will, because if Chelsea scrape a win or a draw, he'll be on the bonus points. Whereas Garvidal, you can't even guarantee he's going to play. It's tough. You'd probably always want to back Man City being the better side, but I'm going to say Cole will. I think he's been pretty good for FPL this season. But Q, what are you thinking?
That is a tough decision. I'm going to go Vardiel because there's a chance that Brighton could not turn up like they have in previous weeks, whereas I think Arsenal will show up, and I think there's going to be at least a goal from Arsenal in that game. So I'd probably go with maybe the more upside and hoping that City are tight defensively. But yeah, it's a pretty tight call.
We've done a bit of City talk. We've both said I'm pro Haaland. Q doesn't have Haaland. We think Brighton will grab a goal. So not so keen on the City defence. There's a lot of rumours Stones is going to start and he's going to be in midfield. So he's someone to look at. So let's do a quick score prediction. I'm going to go 4-2 to Man City, Q.
I'm going to say 2-1.
2-1 to Man City?
Yeah, Man City, sorry. Yeah, Man City. I think Haaland will score. I think Alvarez will score this week.
No, I love it. All right. Dally Paul has asked, do we know if Diaz is playing? Well, what we're going to do now, we're going to check and see if we've got any early team news.
I'm still trying to find it. I've not seen any. So for some reason, This is the only week that there's no leaks.
Normally you get some sort of early leak team news. We've got leaked lineups who have said that Darwin Núñez is starting. But he's saying Callum Wilson starts today, by the way. He was a big differential. We've got Newcastle Palace on the screen. Callum Wilson is a great pick this week. He is one of those players that when no one seems to own him, bags like 19 points. He does it all the time. And he's someone, if I was on a wild card this week, I'll bring Callum Wilson in this week with an easy sort of change to have the money for Darwin Núñez next week. But we're not getting any early team news. I'm going to have to go check out one of the Liverpool forums. Red and White Cop's a really good one. Let's see if they've got anything on there. And we'll come back to that one. We'll come back to that question.
Yeah, because I'm stuck on Diaz or Bowen. So I'm waiting on that news.
We'll come back to that question for you, Dally Paul. Burn, Cash, Ruben, Gabriel start too. I'd probably start Burn and Cash this week.
Yeah, I think Burn and Cash are the 2 options I'd go with as well.
Tank Travel, great account. Go give him a follow. I think this is Glaucoma guy. So go check him out on TikTok as well. He's a legend. Would you bring in Rashford? You know what? If I was playing FPL this week, is just taking 1 week punts, and I was wildcarding next week, I'd probably consider doing Rashford, although I've got more of a preference in Man United players for Bruno Fernandes as a midfielder this week. Something about Fernandes in this fixture, which is quite interesting. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Oh, there's one thing that I will bring up though. Rashford did score a nice goal for England. So we saw last season once he got confidence, outside of City next week, I'm pretty sure they've got. Hold on, I'll just get their fixtures out quickly. So after the City fixture, they then have Fulham, Luton, Everton. So if you do bring him in this week, you can play him against City because he scored against City in the past, but then you've got 3 really good fixtures afterwards. So I like the move, but that's a tiny bit of me being a little
He's
bit
wearing
biased.
a Man United shirt. Yeah. He's wearing a Man United shirt.
I actually like the Haaland from Wish this week. If you have a
Højlund. I love Højlund, baby Haaland. Zaza, who should I captain, Haaland or Salah right now? I'm captain Salah, but I'm afraid with Rodri come back, he could squeeze through. I'd captain Haaland out of the two of them.
Yeah, I've got too much PTSD with Salah. Like, he's a good option, but I'd hate to captain him and he gets maybe 5 or 6 points and then you're sitting through a game where Haaland scores early on and yeah.
No, I'm with her. Who does my dog say to captain this week? All right, so this has come from Tanks Travels is glaucoma guy, I'm pretty sure, on TikTok. And his dog is an absolute legend because glaucoma guy's got glaucoma. And his dog helps him with his vision and being able to see. It's his guide dog, basically. And we've decided that we're going to get glaucoma guy's guide dog to pick my captain for an FPL game week this season. So my dog should pick my captain as well in one game this season. This week he'll want me to pick Haaland, mate. He'll want me to pick Haaland.
I think he said 100%. Rashford. Oh, I think I heard
yeah. Arif, start Solanke or Bowen. Bowen for me. I like the Solanke home game against Wolves, and I'd always say back a striker, home to Wolves, but Bowen's on, as the song goes with West Ham fans, Bowen is on fire this season, and I just think if you got Bowen, you got to play him. What do you reckon on that one, Q?
Yeah, Bowen for sure.
Bowen.
I'm watching another stream on my phone. I saw someone say Diaz is starting.
I'm trying to find stuff now. Dally Paul's just commented again. He said, would you go Diaz 20, 30 minutes or Archer 90 minutes? I'd still back Diaz. Yeah, same, because he can just score in any moment, and he's obviously a quality player. We're all looking for some team news. All we've got is Darwin apparently starts.
I've seen people say Diaz is starting, and then people are asking, is Jota starting? But no one's replied yet. But yeah, I've seen Diaz starting about 6 times in this group chat on FPL Mates live stream.
Okay. Is there anything about Tsimikas on there?
No, I haven't seen anything yet. I'm just scrolling the comments now.
Okay. Doesn't sound like there's any team news. I'm only asking about Tsimikas because in one of my many FPL draft leagues, I've put Tsimikas in this week with the hope that he might play. But if he doesn't, I've got Foster from Burnley as backup. So maybe I'll just leave it. Glaucoma guy is Tanks Travels. Cheers, bud. Definitely go check out his channel on YouTube and Glaucoma guy on TikTok. Absolute legend. Any news for Liverpool? All we've heard is Darwin and Trent start. That's all we've heard. Also, if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. Get your questions in. Deadline's in 6 minutes, so keep getting your questions in. We'd normally go through all the fixtures, but if questions come in, we'd rather answer questions. How about a keeper, Raya or Pope? This week, I'd probably say edge towards Pope, and you could probably keep him for quite a while because Newcastle got some great fixtures.
Someone's commented and said that apparently on Let's Talk FPL, someone said that Jota and Diaz are both starting, which makes sense. Jota up top with, I know.
What
so
about
it should
Salah?
Actually, it'd be Salah and Diaz. How are they going to line up then? Because Jota would either have to play up top or out wide, and if he's out wide, that either means Gakpo is fit or Nunez is starting.
You never know what to believe. Leaked lineups is normally one of the best sources going around, and he's the one that said Trent starts. Darwin starts. So, yeah, it's very interesting if he is telling the truth or not. I'm not sure what's going on here.
Yeah, because you'd think it'd have to be Diaz, Nunes, Salah, or Diaz, Jota, Salah.
What do you think on this one, Q? I said I'd go Pope.
I actually like for this week Pope. Yep, but I think going forward, I feel like Pope's not going to feature much bonus because I think as soon as there's a clean sheet, you got Trippier almost on 3 points. Then you got Burn, Botman, or Wilson, or Isaac. But yeah, for this week, I think for this week, Pope's the better option.
Christian says someone put a photo of the groundsman attending Grant Forest, so they're presuming to play the game. The rain has been seriously heavy there. Yeah, I've heard this about the Forest game, so we'll see what happens. I've heard similar, but I think it will go ahead. Premier League pitches these days, you'd have to be very, very bad weather, which I know it looks like it is, but yeah, it's there's so much technology now that I think they should be fine to play. We're 4 minutes from deadline, so what we'll do, we'll share the screen. We're not going to get through all the games tonight, unfortunately. So, yeah, sorry about that to all the viewers.
Apparently, someone from the FPL newsletter said Darwin bench, Diaz starts.
So now, apparently, Darwin is benched and Diaz starts, which means this picture here, which I shared earlier.
Is the FPL newsletter legitimate? It just says
the FPL newsletter is a decent page, and is it this one here, the FPL newsletter, Lazy FPL?
Yeah.
The thing is, league lineups is normally very, very good. Oh no, okay. Darwin bench. Well, look, if he's right and league lineups isn't, then huge, because league lineups are usually so reliable. So I'm not sure what's going on.
It's frustrating because usually you have at least something.
Well, now Dally Paul's saying he's here, and Edison and Diaz from Man City are both benched today. So big news if you've got either of them. And yeah, sorry, we normally get through all the team news, but I think with us only being a couple of minutes from deadline, I started a bit later this week. We prefer to get everyone's questions in and try and find team news. Christian brought in Sufal. He's playing Kabore, hoping for a 0-0, mate. We all want 14 saves from Turner. Zaza, he's got Pope, Cash, Burn, Udogi, Matoma, Madison, Salah, Bruno, Mbeumo, Haaland, Wissa. So he's got a very strong team this week. 2 minutes until deadline. So please be sure to get your questions in the next minute so we can answer them if you've got any last minute queries. By the way, Alvarez has just price rise. Sufal has price rise. Vichara has price rise over the last day or so if you own any of those. Anything on Tsimikas, anyone?
I haven't seen anything
at all.
I'm going to start Diaz over Bowen.
If you think Diaz is definitely starting, mate, I'd 100% play him over him. I'm trying to find out if there's any quick, late, early Tsimikas news, so then I can. You know what? It's only draft. I'm not that bothered. As long as Salah's starting, that's all that matters. But yeah. Oh, here we go. Jota start. Last one's come in. Jota starts. Darwin bench. Matt, do you have any news on Tsimikas? If it's a yes or no. That's huge because league lineups just told the world that Darwin was starting, and now he is all of a sudden not starting the game. So very interesting. This is probably going to be the game where Jota will come out and bag a couple of goals now as well. It's so typical of Jota in these types of fixtures.
I was nearly going to go Diaz to Jota, but because I want to do Saka next week, I just don't think I could.
No, I agree because I think next week Saka or someone like Martinelli could be really important in that Arsenal Sheffield United game. But deadline is here. Deadline is now here. Thanks to everyone that has tuned in and asked questions. We'll stick around for a couple of minutes. Me and Q can just talk about our teams, and we'll see if there's any reactions on Twitter right now to the Darwin Nunes. We'll bring that comment up again from Matt Cowlin. Darwin Nunes has been benched. That's huge news because league lineups right here on screen. He's got a decent following. He always normally gets it right. Okay, here we go. He's had to say this. Oh, he's done it 2 minutes before deadline as well. Was informed late last night that Nunes was planned to start, reconfirmed early this morning. Fresher information suggests Jota, Salah, and Q's boy Luis Diaz is in there. Good news for Luis Diaz owners. Great player.
Yeah, did
Great
Jared
FPL
put
asset.
Diaz in his? Was Jared the one that asked the question about whether he should start Diaz or not?
No, it was Dalipal.
Oh,
Dali,
us
we
know
said
if you
he said if he
did
should.
go-
I think he started him. Yeah, he did because he said, "Shall I do 20, 30 minutes Diaz or Archer?" But you could get like full game out of Diaz. So, yeah, that's there's a score in there for him. I do feel for Darwin Núñez owners though, because it's like, what more does Darwin Núñez have to do to start these games?
yeah.
I don't get
Yeah,
it.
I guess that's the situation that Liverpool have themselves in, especially when Gakpo is going to be back as well. You got Gakpo, Diaz, Jota, Salah, Nunes.
It's not a bad
Options.
situation to be in, but I just look at someone like Darwin and think you got to start him like almost 95% of the games and just play him, get him on the goals, and get his numbers up. He's a goal scorer supposedly, so.
At least
Yeah, that's a
Darwin off
pain.
the bench scores though, which is like similar to Wilson, where you're not 100% disappointed when Wilson doesn't start because he's banged 2 goals in 10 minutes, and Darwin's done the same thing off the bench. So
yeah, he does. Yeah, this was the chat which said, "Is this source legit?" Well, I might as well reply to this and say, "No, it wasn't." But yeah, we'll stop sharing that one then. That should be us done, I think. Q. Who have you captained this week, Son?
Yeah, Son. I put on Son at the start of the week, and obviously there is the injury cloud, but I just think that he's just too
fine.
good. And Fulham's going to attack, and they're going to be open. And I think there's going to be that game where, which fixture was it the other week, a couple weeks back, when Son got in behind multiple times and got the 3 goals?
Burnley.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be similar to that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I hope so. Look, Son's fine to play. Ange Postecoglou's already said he's good to go. He did play a little bit too much for South Korea, probably, but
and he scored.
And he scored.
We'll
You'll get 70 minutes out of him. You'll get at least 70 minutes, which is enough for him to do damage, and then he'll get the week off. No Europe for Spurs anyway, so yeah, Son will be good to go. I've captained Haaland this week. I've not made a transfer. I've rolled. I've had my week's not been stressful, no, and I've not got to make a transfer. It's actually been really chilled, not having to think about FPL because I wildcarded. And you wildcarded in Gameweek 8 as well, didn't you, Q?
Yeah, so I did the same as you. I rolled. I sort of was looking at maybe going Lamptey to Simicast, but then I thought I'm not even going to play Simicast this week. So I was like, there's no point burning a transfer. And I've sort of, as to you, I play my wild card to move off players to other players over the next few weeks. So I think that just burning a transfer could kind of ruin that planning that I've put in place at my wild card, and then sort of throw a few spinners in there. So I decided just to be disciplined and stick to the plan that I had. So didn't get too excited.
Nah, same as me. I wildcarded in Gameweek 8, knowing that I could then roll over in Gameweek 9, which I've done. If there was any injuries, I probably would have made a transfer, but got away with it in the international break. And then I looked at doing Lamptey because I've got Lamptey as well. He's obviously injured now. To maybe a Simicast, but then I just thought, let's just see how we go this week, and then we can have 2 transfers for Gameweek 10, which will be quite strong. Last few comments that come in, Jared. No worries at all, mate. So he ditched Diaz for Salah on wildcard. He can't be done with the stress. Yeah. When you don't have FPL stress, your life becomes a lot easier.
Diaz will probably be making way for Saka next week for me.
Yeah, it's a good move. Although Liverpool got Luton.
Yeah, so
just
we'll see.
Talking about FPL. No worries, Christian. I hope you're good, mate. And
I love that.
It's a good captain. It's a good captain.
I can see a 15-point haul this week, possibly for Trippier. So
yeah, same. He's back on that scary FPL form, and I didn't bring him in on wildcard, and
That was probably a big reason why I went without Haaland, is because it allowed me to get Son, Salah, Trippier were my 3 players that I was allowed to have. So
I like that. I can still get Trippier though. I've just got to downgrade baby Haaland to the absolute, maybe even not even Archer, maybe even the 4.3 million one.
You won't downgrade baby Haaland, mate, because he's going to net.
We'll see if he doesn't net
week.
tonight. I might have to use the 2 transfers to bring Trippier in.
You're going to be
oohing
and ahhing like a schoolgirl, mate, after tomorrow morning after he scores a hat trick.
Zane just saying doesn't have Luton, it's Forest at home next week. Sorry, he is right actually. Liverpool Forest at home next week for Diaz, and then Luton the week after. So either way, that's a good fixture for Diaz. So thanks for that, Zane. But look, we'll leave it there. Any last thoughts, Q?
I think a lot of people, obviously now that the deadline's finished, that they're going to be planning their wild cards for week 10. I feel like back yourself. If you are doing these early wild card decisions, get those plays in straight away, because I think might have been Planner that mentioned it, that you get the price rises. So do your transfers, but make sure you activate the wild card before next deadline. But yeah, even if you don't want those players, if you think they're going to be going up in the next few days, get them in your side early, get the price rises, and then, towards the end of the week, finalize your team.
Yeah, that's a really good point. If you're activate now, and like you said, get those players in now, ready. But what you got to remember is if you make a transfer on your wildcard tonight and he goes up 0.1 over the next 7 days, you then don't take him out of your team. You keep him, because you've then got to buy him back for that higher price if you take him out. So, yeah, it's all fun and games, FPL. Well, look, we'll leave it there. It's been a great stream. Great to have Q on again tonight. Sorry it wasn't a longer stream to everyone that's tuned in. It was a little bit of a later appearance this evening, but it was good nonetheless. But we'll leave it there. Quentin at FPLMattDay, go and give him a follow on Twitter, Instagram, and you can check out his website as well. He's also on YouTube. I'm FPLMattDay. Good luck for game week 9. I'll leave you all to it. Bye for now, and enjoy the Liverpool versus Everton game, which is on in about an hour and 20 minutes. Bye for now.